Thank you so much for being with us on a Wednesday night with a Tuesday flavor. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, I'm Ken Marangolo. Encouraging all of you out there, please give us a subscription if you would, and smash that subscribe button pointing to wherever it is on the screen that you're looking at. Helps us out a lot. It's free. You get a notification when we come on the air for this show, as well as all of the other shows that we do. Want to welcome into the show tonight my co-hosts, going on 5 years, guys. 5 years. Let's start at the bottom left this week. Wearing orange, Pride of St. John's, coming out of Catholic University, Kevin Ricka.
Hey man, appreciate you noticing my color of face shirt. I'm doing the best I can up here in this attic. I can't just be a cool basement or like an awesome living room. Sorry guys. T's got the mid-level taken care of. The basement, we know Ken's got a lockdown. Somebody has to deal with the attic.
And that person is you.
You got it.
Wearing his old school throwback burgundy and gold Redskins hat, Tim Strachan.
I figured this is the last day, the last time, the last event I can wear this hat. So this is going to be retired.
All right, well, we're going to talk about that, T, because I think that's a conversation worth having.
Let me also just say at the top, I'm really, really looking forward to that day at the VFW. I better be there. There's no doubt. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go listen to our WCAC spectacular show with the winningest coach of all time in high school football, Bob Malloy. You guys did a great job. Bob Malloy is one of the best. I mean, he knocked it out. He wasn't done. He's got more to go, and it's going to be great to have him back on in the future. But well done, guys. Well done, Coach.
I invited myself. I know T. I'm sure you have a standing invite. I'm not missing that. Are you kidding me? I'll be sleeping on the floor at Kevin's house. Really?
Ken.
What's that?
Does that mean I have to stand when I'm invited?
You know what? Part of me thinks I did that on purpose, subconsciously. I love it. I want to welcome to everyone at Hogs Haven. As thank God it's Tuesday is the official Redskins podcast of Hogs Haven. We'll call it a different team name when we have a different team name. There's just so many places to start. I feel like all I want to say is like, oh, we have something big coming on the show. We're just constantly tease stuff because that's apparently what we do here in DC. We only tease stories and we never actually find out what the actual story is. Good Lord. But before we get to that, it's just fitting that the Washington Redskins organization, and again, that's what they are still. I'm happy to call them whatever they're going to be called when they're called whatever they're going to be called. It's fitting that they can't get out of their own way on just every possible front. All right, so I don't even know like what the nicest, easiest way of starting the show is. So I just figured I'd go with something that felt just right as a Washington Redskins football fan. Something that just, when the news hit me, I was like, all right, finally, something normal. Something that I know we should be expecting as a fan of this team. Kelvin Harmon tore his ACL. That's comfortable for me. I know I live there. I know what that's all about. I feel like that's what happens to players on our team under whatever training staff we have. It just seems like that's what's bound to happen. I hate like hell this kid missing this season because he was a factor in the offseason for us. Heading into this season, Harmon was going to be a guy I know that they wanted to rely on to move the chains. It's a big loss for a team that has nothing really but young, unproven offensive talent. So you can't afford to lose guys like that. And at wide receiver, where we've struggled to maintain depth and health, this has it all, really. I mean, if this was the only thing that happened in the last 4 or 5 days, it would be shocking enough. Caveat here real fast. I mean, I think I saw some rankings for, off-season rankings that had our offensive skill players at 32nd. I mean, and I don't think there's too many that get us 5, 6, 7 spots above that. Kelvin Harmon is an unproven second-year wide receiver that we didn't even draft that highly, and he was We were going to depend on him, and we've lost him for the season. So thought I'd start out there. I don't know that that's not the best news we have on the Redskins front tonight, guys. I don't I just
Well,
what do we got?
if you want to put a positive spin on it, here's the thing. I think it's going to hurt them in the long run because without him playing this year, that's lost experience, that's lost chemistry between him and Dwayne in the offense. But it forces, I think, now even more. There's a couple free agents out there that are looking for a job, and I think it forces that hand a little bit more to pick up one of those top dogs, either Antonio Brown um, or Gordon. So there's a positive there because I think that there's going to be a need for a huge upgrade, and there's some huge upgrade talent out there.
Yep. I agree with you, T. It does put that in this perspective that you don't want to not give Dwayne the ability to succeed. The way he's looking, the way he's handled himself, the crap he's already gone through with this local media, which, listen, man, it's no longer New York City. Everyone knows that deal. What we got going on down here, how the media covers this team with the owner that we have and the hatred, the vitriol, this is a big part of it. Losing Calvin Harmon sucks because we were depending on him, and he was going to be a factor in our offense, but maybe not necessarily a starter, just a factor. And rank us at 32nd. We have high expectations for these young bucks. They deserve to be ranked 32nd, but I think all of us around here know that they weren't going to wind up 32nd. We don't have that thought. I don't believe that. Yes, there's a lot to prove, a lot that's unproven, but with Terry McLaurin and Kelvin Harmon and a second-year guy, and there was a lot of hope. So, that was the first thing that got us this weekend, that punched us right where it hurts. A lot of other stuff has, too. Hey, has anyone claimed the rights to the Washington waterboarders? Because we're just being tortured by this crap.
Yeah. No, the news cycle is, and I know James with the Gandy Golden reference. I call him Liberty Bibberty.
I don't like Liberty Bibberty. I'm just going to
fine.
say it.
That's fine.
It's too bibbity for me. It's way too bibbity.
It's totally okay. It makes me feel good sometimes when you resist names.
I know it does.
Yeah,
that's when you keep pushing.
Yeah, I got it.
So maybe I do like it.
Maybe you do like it secretly, or maybe you don't like it yet. But Liberty Bibberty is got to step up, and so he's already had the Rona, and hopefully he can come back strong because we're already short at a position that we've been short at for the better part of 20 years, which is kind of shocking, but it's true. And so, T, to your point, let's get out there. Let's find somebody who can get on the field for us. Opportunity, once again, opportunity. That's why Randy Moss had his kid sign with the Redskins. That's why Antonio Gibson has such a high upside in this offense. Kelvin Harmon, again, like you said, Kevin, maybe not a star in the making, but he was going to get targets. 40 or 50 targets on the course of the season, I don't think is unreasonable. They're going to get divvied up somewhere else. So, want to say just real fast while we're doing this: James Rainey, Greg Martin, Robert Cohen, Eric Anderson, AGH, Rhett Donnelly. We got the Deere and Brothers Barbecue out there. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us tonight. I know there's bigger fish to fry. We're going to kind of inch our way there because we did talk about the name change last week. I thought that we did a good job putting it out there, framing it up, essentially bringing the last 15 years forward of the debate, and trying our best not to be the people who tell you what it should be, not the name, but the issue. Like we're not here to tell you what you should think. We're not here to tell you what's right and what's wrong, just what we believe. And I think that where the last 8 years of Dan Snyder's heels dug in has made it easy for someone like me as a managing editor of Hogs Haven to say, we can talk about this till we're blue in the face. He's not going to change the name of the team, and we want to talk about football. That's been kind of my take at Hogs Haven. Whereas now the name's going to be changed. We're going to have a new name. We're going to move forward, and we're gonna get to watch football. Hopefully, a good brand of it under Ron Rivera, under a new mascot. Great. Um, the name change issue kind of is God, it's hanging on for dear life on the front pages of the sports page right now. It is. It is. You would have thought it was like the biggest story ever. Like the Redskins changing their name, and just so we're all on the same page, just wanted to talk about a couple of things about the name change. That is, what do we do with our Redskins gear? And the guys on the board right now talking about still, buying Redskins gear online. They got all their jerseys that they spend a lot of money on. It's a knee-jerk reaction to refer to the team as the Skins or the Redskins, and it's nothing done intentionally. It's just what we've been doing for me and you guys for 44 years. So there'd be gotta be some kind of a period of time where people don't get all banged up when you talk about the Redskins football organization. So I think we have to talk a little bit about that, and then like for example, and I. Hey guys, you know me.
There's a way to solve that, Ken.
What's that?
There's a way to solve that, bro.
Tell me.
Call them the pigskins.
Okay, but that's solving a problem going forward. I'm talking about, are you guys still going to wear that hat? Because I'm telling you, I don't know why. And again, I put myself out there as possibly being a big dumb animal about it. But
you're gonna offend chunky people with loose morals, T. Come on, it's part of it.
I know, and Mike Why probably. Calling them the pigskins makes so much sense. It's a football organization. It's called a pigskin. We call them the Skins anyway.
I love it.
Have a hog as your mascot. Well, we talked about it briefly. It's not my idea, but it makes the most sense.
It's my little brother JD. You've known forever.
It works.
Steve, if I have 40 T-shirts, 20 of them say Redskins. And I don't want to offend anyone by wearing it. I don't. I'm not trying to make a point on that. I miss the crap out of the fact that half my wardrobe just has to be sitting in the corner. So now I'm really going to offend people at the beach in 2 weeks when I just don't wear a shirt anywhere.
Oh yeah.
If you want to be offended, then here you go. I'm going to give you all of it. And I'm not making light of the fact that Redskins is or isn't offended. Don't send me any hate mail. I get it, but I'm just saying.
More hate mail.
Yes, exactly. If you want to be offended, then tune in next Tuesday when I go shirtless because I can't wear my Redskins tee.
Oh, dude, talk about teasing a show. That's good stuff.
Worst teaser ever.
Yes.
But, okay, so
I agree.
So there's going to be this contingent. I did an interview with the Prime Sports Network and some New York Post writer and some other folks who are covering the name change story on the national level, and they were like, so what percentage of people are pissed about it? Who's going to still wear? They said one of the questions they asked me was, what percentage of people at FedEx are still going to wear their old Redskins gear? And first of all, I said, if you want me to tell you, I could just count them, because at Redskins games you can pretty much count whoever's there. So that's not a problem. That guy, Johnny, Matt, Larry, his kid, his wife.
We can sell it to Eagles fans. I mean, there's got to be a market for that.
There's going to be Redskins gear worn at Redskins game until we meet our last day. I mean, that's just going to be the way that it is. And some people are going to be wearing it to be deliberately provocative, and the rest of us aren't.
Which means it sucks for us to wear.
It sucks for us to wear.
As a tip of the cap to the history that we grew up with.
Yep.
That's the part I'm having a hard time with.
Yep. Exactly. Because you said it, Kevin. You're not going to put something on to be deliberately provocative. And therefore, you're going to think twice about putting it on at all. And at some point in time, you're going to have this gear that you're just not going to wear. And that's tough because, I got a Darryl Green throwback, my Champ Bailey, which I still love, my John Riggins, which I love, my Sean Taylor, which I love. those jerseys mean the world to me. And I'm not a jersey wearing guy. You know, it's not a normal shirt that I would wear, but there's a time and a place to wear a jersey, and those are my jerseys. So it's. I think that to me that's the part of the debate I want to live in at the moment. We're moving to something new. I mean it's happening, it's real, and so it's like, what do we do? Greg Martin and James Rainey and Robert Cohen are going back and forth pretty heartily on this matter on the board right now, and I don't know. I mean, ultimately we're going to have to make these decisions. So I think of the Native American mascot imagery, the Washington Redskins logo is among the more slash most respectful of all the ones that are in professional sports. You know, I know it conjures a name that people are glad to be rid of. Some people are glad to be rid of. It does conjure that name when you see that logo. But at the same time, the logo itself, it's not an offensive logo. It's a Native American representation, and we know the history and the etymology. And Hogs Haven, by the way, if you haven't read it, I know it got some really good love this week from folks in the media. Our main man, he writes under the handle of Kyle Smith for GM. He's been pushing for Kyle Smith for GM for a long time, but he's an older writer for Hogs Haven, and he did an amazing piece. It was on July 2nd. So if you want to go back on Hogs Haven on July 2nd, and he really takes a super deep dive into the origination of the name, the origination of the logo, the etymology of the name, as it pertains to both the Native American circles as well as professional sports. It takes you through all the way through the organizational history of the Washington Redskins and how that name has kind of tracked through. Even talking about really what I'm getting at here, T, and with regard to your hat, and that is the logo was changed in the 70s from that Circle R helmet to the Native American helmet because there were Native American folks out there who said, we got to do a better job of using this platform that we have to honor our heritage. That's where that logo came from. And so that's why it pains me to hear you say that you'll retire the hat, because I think the hat still means something. But I also understand why you would think that.
Yeah, you retire it because of the Karen that's going to point it out and shame you to death, because you know those people are going to be out there too. So no, they're going to change the name. They're going to change everything. You gotta put it away. It's the only thing I own, by the way. I don't have any T-shirts or anything like that. This is the one piece of paraphernalia I have. I'll put it away. It'll still be mine. I'll never get rid of it, but I don't think I'll ever wear it again.
T, I just want you to know I'm speaking for Ken and I at this point. The male term for a Karen has rotated between Kevin and Ken for the last couple months, but nothing has stuck. So,
God.
it's so disgusting because we are not Karens, Ken.
No,
we just aren't.
We're not.
But I do love the fact that we have to deal with the Karen. We just sick T on them, and it's over. So what I'm asking is, you've had my back my whole life, but you need to have our back in this Kevin Ken male Karen scenario. We can't have.
I totally have your back in it. I totally have your back in it. I use Karen just because right now it's a word that a name that people are recognizing as. There are going to be people. There are going to be people who do that. There's going to be people who go to Redskins game for the sole purpose of shaming people who wear Redskins gear. Yep. I'm sorry.
Tickets are available.
It's honest.
I'm pushing for Carl. I think Carl would be a good name.
Yeah. Carl's so much more Karen than Ken or Kevin.
Without a doubt. Carl. It should be Carl. With a K. Fine, make it a K. There's plenty of Carls out there with K.
I'm
changing my Twitter handle to Karen and Carl. Leave off Kevin and Ken. Although your Twitter handle is not helping, it's raining Ken. So, I'm just saying that's hurting the Ken side of things. But
I would argue against that. But I'm a lone man there, a lone wolf, a lonely wolf.
I have nightmares about Karens, and you're a lone red wolf. Is that what you just said?
Okay. I have no problem with the Red Wolves. Does anyone have a problem with them? Who cares, T? What's wrong with Red Wolves? It's gonna be
I don't know.
something new.
What does a wolf? What does a wolf have to do with my
I
life in
love
Washington?
wolves. I've always loved wolves.
They're indigenous to our region.
Yeah,
Region.
And,
wolves are cool.
Ah,
and to right here. No, there's red wolves right here amongst us.
Yes,
They're
there
just
are.
very
sure.
crafty, and you don't see them in your backyard.
It's crazy.
Hey, how about this though? Everyone's talking about the ow 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 in the fourth quarter, the Wolves den. Hey, my brother JD said pigskin. My brother Keith said, "Whoa, Bezos is going to pull this maneuver and write scathing articles and come out and demolish Dan Snyder and take over the team." He goes, "I'm all right with it. How about the Washington Amazons?" I said no because of cheerleader gate. The uniforms for the Washington Amazons could be a bit too risque for and I don't want to make light of anything because I don't know anything.
Yep.
But there's some stuff coming that,
All right.
unfortunately, yeah.
Let's go there because we've now been on. We've really kind of greased the wheels here. So here's like the stupidest part about it. For like a week, every reporter, local and national, that covers the league or covers sports has been hinting at this bombshell, this looming story that won't be good. First of all, when you say something won't be good about the Redskins organization, you're gonna have to be just a little more specific, because there's a lot going on there. The teasing of this story has been just part for the most part, part of the problem, I would say, because if you're close to this team, you've known that they've been engaged in some pretty bad things, and they've gotten off on a lot of it. So I just wanted to start out by saying that when I saw this and I saw some of the things that are being attributed to it, we want to be very clear at the top of this discussion that if and when this bombshell gets dropped by the Washington Post, which has been said that been investigating a story regarding the Washington Redskins front office for some time, that there's going to be people who have been harmed, and there's just no way to say how much we wish that never happened. We don't want people to be harmed by our favorite sports organization. I mean, it's disheartening is putting it as lightly as you could possibly put it. It's gut wrenching. It's like you're working your loins like a heavy bag. It's the worst. You don't want it. You don't want anyone to be hurt by something that you love. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, there's been stories around this organization for a long time, rumors, leaks, sources saying, reports about, unnamed this, anonymous officials that. The culture at the top of this organization has been toxic for a long time, and we've been way up front on that. And we've said that not only has it been bad, not only has it been toxic, but in the office from Monday morning through Saturday, afternoon, but it's showed up on the field on Sunday, and it has absolutely infected the operations of a football organization with coaches and players. The things that have been happening in the administrative side, we've seen it up close. We've heard the stories. They've been disgusting. A couple years ago, there was a story that broke about the Washington Redskins cheerleading organization, that they were, potentially being abused or assaulted, or that they were being put in situations that were unhealthy. And that's like saying it so sterilely and without saying, like, literally it seemed like the team was pimping cheerleaders. Like that's what it sounded like to me when I saw it. And it made me sick. And we wrote articles about it. I did a thing on NPR about it. We talked to network, ABC and NBC folks about it, and it was a thing. And then it just went away. Like, they did an investigation and they held people accountable, and then all of a sudden it was just gone. bad stuff has been happening at the top of this organization for a long time, and maybe we're being naive when we say that it's just it's just this one place, because malfeasance at high corporate levels in this country is, I'm sure, much more rampant than we all want to really admit and face and discuss and understand. Maybe that's true, but for us, this is local to us. This is it hits us real close to home. And so the idea that our organization could be involved in something potentially as terrible as everyone keeps, alluding to, and just to say to Greg Martin and Robert Cohen and James Rainey's out there, yeah, it sucks that all people want to do is allude and talk and tease until this thing comes out. We deserve to know the story, and hopefully that's going to be the case tomorrow and or Friday.
And Ken, let me just
go ahead. Yeah,
interject
Kevin,
real
jump
quick.
in.
The tone the tone the tone of the tease is almost like the people writing it are so excited. They're like, and on Friday, I mean, listen, La Canfora always starts these little things off with, between us ladies. I was at the beauty parlor with Cooley's ex-girlfriend, and I'm sick to death of that crap. Hey, whatever comes out on Friday comes out. We've taken it all, like you've said. If there's victims, that's the only people I care about. It'd be horrible, and you know that at least it seems like if Ron Rivera has picked up on this as a new employee here at Washington and is cleaning house of this mess, there's going to be some stuff that he doesn't have to deal with from the past. And we're lucky to have him here for now in the future. But old Danny Boy is going to have to pay the piper at some point. And I don't know if this is as big of a chance to evict the steward as we might think it is. We're about to find out in 24 hours. I just don't like the local media, just the tone of it all. They love it. They love it. And I get hating Snyder and hating some of the stuff that's going on, but there's diehard fans like the three of us out here that this means a lot to. And I know that's exactly what you were getting at, Ken. And it will disgust us, and we're going to have to rise above it and get through it as long as these victims are dealt with properly and we can move forward. And we'll see. I think there's a decent chance that Snyder gets exposed this time around after the last 100.
I agree. Go ahead, T.
Yeah, no, first and foremost, to any victims that are out there, we are sorry. We're going to be, behind you and support, you all the way. Unfortunately, when you choose to be a fan of an organization like this and you choose to, like we did, because it represents where we're from, it's going to hit home. It's going to be hard. But as we were talking about earlier with the name change, with change and what we're seeing in everyday society right now, with change, there's opportunity. And if there's going to be a positive out of this, I don't see Daniel Snyder, no matter what the news is, what his involvement is, I don't see him surviving this. I see some stuff on Twitter and I'm reading, around it, through it, adding it all together. I just don't see any way Dan Snyder can ride this out. And if there's a positive, that's it. He's going to be forced out somehow, in my uneducated fan perspective and opinion.
Yeah. All right. Well, you hit the nail on the head with regard to if there's a positive, and I'll leave it at that for a second because
where there's change, there's opportunity. I love it.
Yeah, that is being seen as a potential positive by all of us, and it's not lost on us that after 20 years of destroying our favorite sports organization, that something hopefully would end that destruction. The things that are going on right now that we can talk about that have actually happened. The Santos and Mann firings, the front office shakeup. Here's the thing to me. And now,
Larry Michael.
Yeah,
I
want to enter speculation mode just for a second, but I don't want to do it capriciously. I want to basically say that to me, the Larry Michael retirement is telling. I want everyone to understand fully and with eyes wide open. Larry Michael and Dan Snyder are as tight as they can be, as tight as two people in an organization can be. He was the voice of the Washington Redskins. He edged out the old Sonny Sam and Frank model to put himself in place, and Dan Snyder, allowed that to happen. Dan Snyder really, greased the wheels and allowed Larry Michael to become what Larry Michael became, which was the voice of the Washington Redskins. There was a time when you could watch a show about the Washington Redskins on TV every single day, and it was good. It was fun. It was our team. Even when the team sucked, you still watched it. When Larry Michael took it over, it stopped being that. It started being more. I mean, I hate to use the word propaganda because of the images and things that it conjures, but that's what it was. And it was bad. And it got worse over time. His retirement is not. It's been a good run, 16 years. It's been a great career. I'm happy for the opportunity, and I'm going to go, now's the time for me to spend time with my family. Can we just for 1 second all recognize, if you're the voice of one of $32 billion organizations in professional sports, one of the most recognizable logos on the planet, because it is, and you're at the center of it, and you're best friends with the owner, drinking buddies. That was a tight circle of Evan Williams, Blue Label, bottle drinking every single day, making decisions, group of guys. This is the truth. What I'm telling you right now. These guys, that's what they did. Larry Michael was there. There's no chance that you retire in the eye of a shitstorm when everything bad that could possibly happen to your organization is all happening in the span of 7 days. That's not when you go on your sunny ride off into the sunset retirement. That's not when you plan like we're not having cake on Friday for Larry Michael, because he's had a good run, 16 years as the voice of the Washington Redskins. I'm telling you, that is not what's happening. So please don't think that. There's no way Dan Snyder doesn't know what's going on with Larry Michael. Larry Michael retirement is part of this whole thing. I know that we're starting to hear more and more about that, but for God's sake, if Larry Michael is involved, so is Dan Snyder. So that is Ken Marangola's personal, humble 2 cents opinion. Could be dead wrong. Dead wrong.
Oh, he peaced out, man. He peaced out. And people in that position, you don't just peace out unless there's something behind it.
No.
You have ceremonies, you have goodbyes, you have tears, and the whole, no.
Yeah. Listen, if this episode of Skin Tangibles is drink a little bit too much bourbon and make some off color comments or start getting a little handsy around the workplace, that's the type of reason why you just up and leave mid coronavirus right before the season starts with no fanfare. And if any guy's about fanfare for himself or wants to be surrounded by it, seems to be that would be him. I don't want to falsely accuse anyone of anything.
Right.
But this just does not. It doesn't smell right. It doesn't.
Nope. It's not even like. It's not even hard. It's not even camouflaged. I mean,
Have the Skins even
obvious.
put anything out? Have the Skins even said anything?
Larry Michael had a thing where he was like, "Thanks for the 16 years, blah blah blah. We're retiring. It's time to call it quits, whatever." But I mean, again, it's not the way it happens.
Sorry, Frank Herzog.
I mean, again, I wanted to use the Larry Michael thing to leg into the Dan Snyder thing, which is to say that there's been fall guys in this organization, Vinny Serrato and Bruce Allen being the most notable of folks who we've moved on from in the hopes of righting the ship from a culture and environment standpoint. And we can put a pin in Ron Rivera because we will not allow him to be stained by this. The things that have gone down.
Poor Ron.
And let's get to Ron in a second. But Dan Snyder should be held accountable for this. I think all the moves that are being made this week are an effort to either shield himself or make it seem like there were things going on he didn't know about. We haven't even heard the story yet. So again, I just want to make sure everyone understands. I don't know shit. They're not telling me anything. I'm not breaking any news. I've been outspoken in the past about terrible leadership and poor management and all the terrible things that happen in an organization with bad leadership and the ways that it manifests itself in the business, which is of football. We can't be a successful football team because the entire business organization is completely effed because of Dan Snyder. So if 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 there's anything close to what we think is about to happens, then yes, he should be nailed to the wall, and he should be forced out. And it doesn't have to be the same as Richardson from Carolina. It doesn't have to be the same as Sterling from the Clippers. It doesn't have to be the same as any of that. It 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 is what it is in this case, and that saying, which I've kind of run from over the last 10 years, is relevant here because this situation is its own situation, and it is probably worthy of Snyder being Snydered. He's not being Sterlinged. He's not being Richardsoned. He's going to get Snydered because he made this bed. And for him to run from any of it or to act like he is above any of it, when I personally know, I look right into the camera and I tell you, I know better. I know better. I know. I'm nobody. I am the least of all of us. The least. And I've been around it and I've seen it and I know it. And he has not been a good guy. Okay? He just hasn't. And if this stuff comes out, he has to be held accountable for it. Pure and simple. And if people want to celebrate the fact that we get rid of a bad owner, fine. If people want to have a parade because the Washington Redskins, under a new name and a new owner, have a new opportunity to move forward and everyone's going to rally around that, along probably with us, fine. But before we get there, all I'm saying is this guy has not made good decisions, has not been a good leader, has not been a good manager, has not been a good steward. Almost any step of the way. Any step of the way. And if we can't just like open our eyes for just for 1 second and say whatever we're about to read and whatever we're about to learn and let them try to convince us that he had nothing to do with it, that's where we have to draw the line. That's where we have to get like super forceful, and that's where I'm kind of will lean on the sentiment of the day, the manner in which the folks, the people that represent us, that fill those stands, or who may very well someday fill those stands again in a different regime. We just cannot have a blind eye to this. He has to go if even part of this is good. Sorry.
Look, I agree with you. However, I don't think we're going to need to get there. I'm jumping on this conspiracy that I think everything's been baked. I think that there is some sort of underground backdoor something thing going on where I don't know if all 31 other owners are involved or not. If this is the minority owners doing what they're doing right now as part of the domino effect. I may even buy in the conspiracy that Ron Rivera was part of all this or knew what was coming. This may have all been done. That's why we haven't heard from him. That's why he's been so quiet. And that's probably why he bought a damn yacht. So he can get on that damn yacht and never come to
Dan Snyder, not Ron Rivera.
Yeah, that's why Dan Snyder bought a damn yacht. A $93 million yacht or something. I'd buy one too if I could never show my face in public again.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was quarantining before the quarantine.
Yes, he was.
There's got to be something to say about that. There's plenty of places for that man to go in this area with the amount of wealth and influence he has, and he's been hiding. No doubt about it, Tig.
Persona non grata around this town, which is unheard of for a owner of our team.
He's always about to catch one of these. He's always about to catch one of these around here.
Yeah. To your point.
You better not show up at Kensington, that's for sure.
I don't want to.
Snyder volleyball.
I don't want to celebrate something that's probably going to be terrible, that's why I want to attack it from the other side and say, if anything happened over the last 20 years that's as bad as what everyone is alleging that we're about to read, then yeah, he should be held responsible. And the rumor mill, which is all we have to lean on this week, which is just spinning out of control, is that there is a growing consensus in league circles that he has to go. And then take that for what you will. I have heard that. I have heard that there's 31 owners actively discussing how they get rid of a guy like Dan Snyder. It's not easy. It's not easy. Once you become an owner of an NFL team, you're basically a made man in a gang, in a mafia of sorts. And I don't even know how else to describe it besides that, because you're a made man, and it's hard to get rid of people like that. But and Snyder's a litigious dude, and he's not without resources to fight it. One thing I'll add to that, T, to what you're talking about, the minority owners, the minority ownership of 40% versus 60. When they put that 40% ownership on the block to sell, and nobody was making any meaningful offers, people said, well, no one wants to work with Snyder. No one wants to be involved in that organization with Dan Snyder. No one wants to be involved in an organization that's going in so much turmoil, that's so poorly thought of. And to me, what that move said was, it was Shar, Smith, and Rothman. I apologize for getting his name wrong if I did. But those three guys, essentially what they did was they devalued his 60%. And so that's the clever move that was made when they took their 40% to the street. Not to sell out of their 40%, because I actually think what they were doing was making a move on his 60%. And the way you get 31 billionaire owners of NFL teams to care enough to get involved in the situation is if you devalue a franchise in the fifth or a top 5 media market in this country to a point where you got to start worrying. If that 40% value starts to come off because no one's interested, it has a direct tie to the 60% valuation. So then that starts to fall. The organization's valued about $3.5 billion. Dan Snyder's net worth is about $2.4 billion, which is somewhat along the same lines as his interest in the Washington Redskins. So now you're starting to talk about actual real issues, financial issues. If his worth is tied to his stake in the Washington Redskins, and that stake in the Washington Redskins is being driven down because of the value of that 40%, now all of a sudden, what's he going to do? He still has to build a stadium. He still has to make nice with the city of Washington D.C. He still has to figure out a way forward for this organization past FedEx as a sponsor in this whole thing. Kevin?
No, I don't want to interrupt. I just was thinking in my head, now we're going to have to be the Red Wolf. We're not going to be able to afford a pack.
No.
Be the Washington Red Wolf. There's going to be one of them.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, I'm not playing chess or poker with any of these minority owners, because I think you're right. I think this was all calculated. This was all part of whatever plan there is. Again, I'm totally jumping on this conspiracy that this has all been a way to force him out. If you're talking about, a mafia, he's getting left. That's just it. I think he's done.
I hope that's true. And I know that in short order we'll have more to talk about with regard to that. I don't really know what else. I'm looking at the board here to see if I think they're kind of coming on it like we're coming on it. The minority owners are absolutely. I think they were interested in becoming majority owners at a certain value, and I think that they've proven their point. And but I don't think they proved their point to Dan Snyder. I think they proved their point to the league. It's worth noting that Dan Snyder has also burned bridge after bridge after bridge in the NFL. As an owner, you sit on committees and you go to meetings and you vote and you decide things, and you're a caretaker of the shield, as they say, working for Goodell. He stopped going to his committee meetings reportedly a few years back, at least. He started sending Bruce Allen to his committee meetings. And my understanding, what I was told, is that this pissed off the other owners to no end. That some billionaire guy would be sitting in a room representing his multi-billion-dollar organization and having Bruce Allen sitting in the room next to him and trying to tell him, what to do. When at the end of the day, all Bruce Allen was doing, again, what someone told me, what I was told, and what I believe, because I believe this person, is that they were basically just rubber stamping ideas and thoughts from the Jerry Jones and Robert Krafts of the league, and that's what that's just not going to get it done. You can't send Bruce Allen to your committee meetings, for years at a time and not expect people to be happy about that, and they have relished in letting Dan Snyder twist in the wind over a variety of issues. The salary cap penalty. Guess what? That happened. That was real. That was $36 million that we didn't have to spend. Why our team sucked a lot. You know who had a lot of fun at our expense in that regard? 31 other owners. Loved every second of it. And they hate, there's some out there who hate his guts. And they've been waiting for an opportunity, and this is their opportunity, I think. In my opinion, this is their opportunity to say, okay, it was all fun and games when Dan Snyder was just a dick and everyone hated him. But, yeah, now we got to have to step in and take care of this.
It was not fun and games when he was being a dick.
I know it wasn't.
It just wasn't. Maybe for everybody else outside of the 202 and the DMV. I don't know why I said DMV, the metropolitan area. But come on, man. Poor freaking Ron Rivera. I just keep thinking, I keep coming back to him for me. The answer to this. Now what happens? The Snyder drop a dime on Rivera to make easy? I mean, you said mafia. This is what happens. And you know what else happens in the mafia? When someone vouches for you and you're going to get whacked, you don't hear about it, and you're usually next. So Jerry Jones ain't getting whacked, but those two were thick as thieves at the beginning of all this. That was the steward's big baby brother. So
yep.
I don't think he's pulling for him at this point. I don't think he's pulling that weight.
No, I think the Ron Rivera point is a good one to go out on, and that is
prayers up for Ron Rivera.
Prayers up for Ron Rivera. Even as bad as Dan Snyder has been, and he's been bad, the declaration that he's going to move to a coach-centric model, that he's going to give his coach the power to be in charge, and the fact that Ron Rivera was the guy that we got, these things are working in our favor. When I first heard the news that there was a looming story coming out of Redskins Park and we were going to see dominoes fall and it was going to be bad, my first thought was Dan Snyder has already gone back on his promise to Ron Rivera to let him run this team, and Ron Rivera's out. Like, Ron Rivera is going to not fired. That Ron Rivera would say, "Screw you guys, I'm out. Like, this isn't going to work for me. You guys said I was going to. You guys gave me the power to do all this stuff, and now you're not letting me because Dan Snyder never sticks to his word." That was my biggest fear. Obviously, that's not my biggest fear anymore because we know just a little bit more about what we're about to read and see and hear about. So, Ron Rivera, to me, Ron Rivera can still be part of the solution. And if we're so lucky,
of course,
that Dan Snyder's held accountable, any new business leader would understand on second one, minute one, hour one, that what they have in Ron Rivera is what they need.
Again, hey, this conspiracy of mine now is starting to run rampant. I'm thinking because he was actually Ron Rivera is first brought in by one of these minority guys.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's part of the whole plan. And whoever's going to, I don't know if the minority owners are going to want to take over majority. Maybe they got a guy like Bezos to come in as the majority. They've said, look, you can come in. We'll be fine right away with a guy like Ron Rivera at the helm. You don't even have to make a big hire. You don't have to do anything different. We got it all set up and ready to go when you step foot in. This could all be already, again, just totally baked. Part of the whole plan.
All right, well.
Conspiracy.
Hey.
Conspiracy.
Yeah, and it could be the conspiracy that leads to old Bruce and Danny Boy both gone within the year.
I mean, we can't, as a trio, as a Trio and Luke and Vic, like we can't take all the credit. Obviously, like it's not just us responsible for making sure that people understand, the badness of all this. But if the Washington whatevers under the yet as of yet unnamed owner with the future stadium wherever you want to put that to me is like the greatest fantasy that I can imagine.
Hey.
And there's blanks. There's nothing but blanks there, but I will take that all day over what we've had.
Especially if you're a Prime member. There's going to be ticket discounts. I mean, listen, Bezos doesn't just own the Post. This is going to be – and how about this? How about this storyline of the man who owns the Post using the Post to evict the steward who has crushed us for 20 years? I mean, is he our knight in shining armor, Jeff Bezos?
In one way or the other, he is our knight in shining armor. Whether he buys a team or whether he just – so the dumbest thing ever, if you just want to put a fine point on how stupid Dan Snyder has been, and this is – again, this is not Ken Marangolo speculation. This is straight up fact. He went to war with the Washington Post almost immediately because he was such a moron, and they actually have professional reporters who were like, wait, this guy might be a moron. And they start putting and then informing the public, by the way, your owner, kind of a moron. And he went to war with them over it, and he hired guys like Tony Wiley, and he had guys like Carl Swanson, and he had people in his team whose jobs were to absorb the bullets from the press, namely the Washington Post, and to fight back. I think the lesson that was laid down a century ago was you don't get into a war of words with people who buy ink by the barrel. I think that's like an old school adage that is still true to this day. And if the people that are buying the ink by the barrel are also not just billionaires, but the richest guy on the planet in Jeff Bezos, God, you must be pretty effing stupid if you're gonna go to war with that guy. So, God, get this guy out of here. Get this guy out of here. I don't know. I'm done with it until we know what the story is.
Ken, side note, remind me not to get into a big argument with you. You just used ink by the barrel, malfeasance, and working your loins like a heavy bag.
Yeah. A speed bag. It should have been working your loins like a speed bag.
Yeah, but it depends on the bag, to be fair.
It depends on the bag. That's true. That's a fact.
It could be a heavier whatever. Just saying, if I am Jeff Bezos and I'm the new owner of the Washington Redskins, I'm going to make peace with you. So there's no malfeasance, no speed bag working, and he buys his ink by the barrel. But I don't think that's really ink anymore. I think it's the digital printer.
Pixels.
There's some heat involved. There's a thermal something or other. But I think thermal printer would be the new one. But I just wanted to let you know that.
It's all ball bearings
I've been
these
listening
days.
and making notes. I just wanted to let you know.
I'll tell you, guys, we've been going at this for 53 minutes. I'll tell you, I want to get us out on something slightly more positive, but I just also want to get us out. T, what do you got?
Feels like 54 minutes.
Feels like 54. It is. It's closer to 54.
I gotta pee so bad. I'm just gonna go. Say whatever you want.
I want to hold out hope and optimism, and I want to represent that from all the guys on our board and all the good folks at Hogs Haven who are keeping the faith that we're going to see some NFL football this fall. Nothing yet that says we won't. Nothing yet that says the NFL isn't going to get this figured out. The good news is Dan Snyder has nothing to do with that decision. And management, thankfully. So we will get through this. Hopefully, this next couple days of news. I got a feeling we're going to come in pretty hot on Tuesday, with a bunch of new developments. And I will hold it open, guys. I will hold it open to you. If we need to reassemble between now and next Tuesday, I stand at the ready to do just that. If we have something going on that we got to talk about, the Redskins world, and again, please pardon me for talking about the team that's still called the Redskins. When we're called something else, I will call them something else. I want to make sure everyone understands that between now and then, we will talk about what we have, but we got to go out on a high note, guys. We're going to go out on a super high note because we got a big show next Tuesday night. July 21st is we're gonna tease this with everything we got because you want to love something about the Washington Redskins. You want to have fun talking about the football team and the history of what this team has meant to this city and what this team has meant to people like us. You go no further than the following two words: Dexter Manley. On the show next Tuesday night, Dexter Manley will be here. He will make everything okay. The Manley Foundation is going to be represented on the show next week. We're going to get help them kick off their foundation fundraising. They're supporting some amazing local charities. Dexter, of course, recovering from COVID. He is feeling healthy. He is going to be on this screen, and he is going to be talking to us about anything we want to talk about. You guys are going to be on the board. Your questions will be asked from the board to Dexter, so please bring them. We will talk about it on Hogs Haven between now and then. But you ask, how can we possibly have some fun in July in this ridiculous news cycle for our favorite football team? I give you, we, Luke, T, Kevin, Vic, we give you Dexter Manley. All right? Guys, what else do you want?
I mean, we got Dexter coming on. And listen, Todd Heavner and that charitable foundation reached out to us, and we were so excited. The Manley Foundation helping fight illiteracy in Washington, D.C., and many other cities on the Eastern Seaboard. Dexter just fought COVID and came out on top. We are looking forward to having Dexter on. Part of the forum of the show next week is an open-ended question for anyone listening, and we're going to pump this out, and there's going to be a bunch of people involved. But you guys right on that board know damn well. Bring your Dexter questions, because we're in charge of picking these questions, and you guys have been in charge of making on Tuesday nights and Wednesday this week a hell of a lot better over the last 5 years. We appreciate you and everything you do. Hey, come strong next week. Let's have a great show, not talking about any what-ifs.
I'm excited. I this would be my I think I was telling T, I think this is gonna be like my 5th show with Dexter, and there hasn't been a single time I've ever been live with Dexter Manley where something just spontaneous happened. That's the best thing. That's the best way I can describe it. Spontaneity will be in full force with Dexter Manley on live on our channel, and
hell yeah.
What else do you want? He put it. He left it all on the field. His story is well known. His story is well told. He is just like me. Just like me. I always make sure people understand I'm a flawed man. I'm a sinner like the rest of us, as we all are. And man, I tell you what,
you can't sin like Dexter can.
What's that? I can't. I'm just saying. I'm not someone to be held up. And I love the opportunity to talk to real people who have been through it, who understand what it is to deal with adversity and solve problems. That's what Dexter's doing right now, and I'm excited for you guys to hear his voice because he's serious about this, and he's giving back in a major way. And that's all you can ask. He's in a position to help, and that's exactly what he's doing. And we're going to do what we can to support that.
Yeah, that's very well said. That's exactly what he's doing. He fought for his life 2 months ago. Now he's trying to make the lives of the youth in Washington, D.C. that much better. The program involves 6th grade kids teaching 2nd graders how to read. It's very self-sufficient. It's a big honor for these 6th graders, and certainly quite an awesome deal for these 2nd graders. And what happens is they go from 2nd to 6th, and they become the mentee. And it's an awesome program. It's very well thought out. It's tried and true. And we're we're going to put it right down in the heart of the District of Columbia. And then with Dexter Manley's name written on it, I guarantee you, because we all know that was a big problem for Dexter growing up. It hits close to home. He is making sure that these other kids don't have to fake the funk like he did, having dyslexia and having to worry about, lying and switching and the whole bait. The whole thing was exhausting to him. He's going to make sure that this isn't the deal for many, many families. I think it's awesome. I think it's just very, just showing who you are and how big your heart is. That's what we love about Dexter.
Yep.
Yeah, and the fact that, as disheartening as maybe the name change should be, is, and whatever news drops tomorrow, how negative it may be, having a guy on like Dexter next week brings that little kid feeling back inside you a little bit.
Yeah.
And the reason why he's coming on, as you guys are talking about, for his foundation. We grew up loving Dexter Manley because he was Dexter Manley that we saw on TV, wreaking havoc on defensive line, from the defensive line. We could care less about anything else. Growing up now and knowing what he's doing to give back to the community gives you a whole new warm feeling of different sorts, and I'm so glad that we're a part of helping him out.
Absolutely.
That's what we got on tap. Less than a week from tonight, when we will be back on this channel to give our thanks for yet another Tuesday night. I want to say thank you to Tim Strachan in our top left tonight for bringing it, and I appreciate you, buddy.
Say goodbye.
We see it. Oh, it's gone. It's gone. That's so dramatic.
It's gone.
How did you do that?
Never to be warning in. I appreciate it. Looking forward to the VFW. Looking forward to next week. Not looking forward to other things, but we'll get through it, everybody. We'll weather the storm.
He's Kevin Ricca.
Hey, man, HTDM next Tuesday. Hell to Dexter Manley. None of this other stuff is going to matter for another hour, and that's been awesome. That's been the best part about this Tuesday throughout the whole pandemic. Hell to Dexter Manley next Tuesday and what he's doing for the youth of the city of Washington, D.C.
On behalf of First Amendment Sports, I'm Ken Marangola. I want to say a special thank you to Victor Maddox and Luke David for making us look so good as can be expected. I mean, let's be honest, they don't have a lot to work with here with these three mugs. But appreciate what you guys do. We will be back next Tuesday night. We have a fun, awesome night scheduled with some cool high school sports. And, of course, Dexter Manley. Until